guys. I'm Italian, that's why I speak really weird. And you can make fun of my accent, everyone does. And I hope it doesn't bother you today. I'm really glad to be here to speak to all of you because this room is full of people really inspiring and just successful and amazing, and we have a lot to share. We are travelers, we are curious, we want to do big things in our lives, and this is a common thing for all of us. So it's weird. I'm glad to be here because we put ourselves in a really weird spot, which is the entrepreneurial world. It's not a comfortable spot at all. Like, it's difficult. We challenge ourselves every day, and we are not happy if we don't challenge ourselves, but it's a lot of fun. But we need to start knowing how to manage this world, pretty much. So it's interesting because I'm probably, I have less experience than many of you here. I decided to become an entrepreneur just thinking about that 1 year ago, 12 months ago. And actually, I realized I wanted to be an entrepreneur 10 months ago. So it's a really short journey right now. And but this year, I had the biggest lesson learned of my life, my entire life. And that's why I'm here today, because I want to share something that can be applied. I came out after this lesson learned with something that can be applied in your personal life and in your business. So I developed this strategy, and I like to say that this strategy is 100% success rate if you can apply it. A little background. I felt invincible for many years in my life. I did pretty good in Italy. I got a bachelor degree in industrial engineering, master degrees, and I was enrolled in the PhD program. And I was just enjoying life. I got a corporate job. I was teaching at university, doing all this stuff, living around Europe, between Italy, UK. And I loved that life, but at one point, and I'm sure you can relate to this, many of you can relate to this, I got bored. So I was like, how can I challenge myself? And if you live in Italy, or if you live even in Europe, it's not that easy to get in touch with entrepreneurs because people are kind of scared. They say, oh, I want a job, I want a 9-to-5, I would be really happy about that because jobs are not guaranteed right now, especially in Italy. So I got in touch randomly with people who inspired me, and I was, wow, that's what I want. I'm going to live the dream. These guys are wealthy. These guys are travelers. These guys are enjoying life. And I met them during the Yacht Week, for all of those of you that know what's that. And I was like, yeah, I want this life, so why not? Of course, I feel invincible. I'm going to get it. And I decided to starting with my idea, and I was, yeah, for sure, that's what is going to happen. Pretty awesome plan. I'm going to quit my job. I have an idea. I'm going to put money on that. I'm going to be enjoying life, hanging out with amazing people, and be a millionaire in 1 year, of course. And guess what, guys? My picture was slightly different from reality, just slightly. And so you can imagine that. So today what I'm going to do is to share a personal story. I'm ready to share it. And I want to apply this methodology to my story just to provide you an example. So I'll give you a little background of that point. 10 months ago, I decided to become an entrepreneur. I got with this idea. I came out with this idea about a marketplace, which is actually my company right now. It's a marketplace connecting coaches, life coaches, business coaches with clients. I got the idea, I developed the business plan, and then at the point I was like, okay, I found a pretty good deal on development, and I decided just that it was about to work. So I moved out to San Diego, I moved out to the States, I got connected there, I had plans, I had a nice relationship, which I really was into it, and I was enjoying life. I was traveling, I had enough money to enjoy life. I was developing a company. Everything was going really, really well at that point. And surprise, surprise, one day just I found out that I was about to become a mom. And at that point, it was a roller coaster because I was, wow, what am I going to do right now if I'm going to have a baby? And then after a little roller coaster, I just accepted it and actually brought a lot of joy in my life. And I was really happy. And I was, yeah, I'm going to do the double launch, company and family and everything. But at that, so imagine this life, like enough money to live wealthy, a company about to be launched in the summertime, an expecting baby, and everything was okay in my life. But then, the disruption. So, I'm not going to go in details on this, but in 2 months, like 60 days, I lost everything. Like everything. Started losing the baby. And then I lost, I had unexpected expenses in Italy. And so I lost a good amount of money. And I broke up. And overnight, I found myself in a hotel without a home anymore in San Diego, on the other side of the world. And I was, So, what am I gonna do right now? And how can I survive to this? And so, the first thing I realized, there is something really important that every entrepreneur should realize. And there is a bad news and a good news. I'll start, of course, with the bad news. The bad news is that if you are an entrepreneur, if you are responsible of your own business, you need to develop more skills than everybody else to get over all that shit. Can I say shit? Okay. So you need to develop all these skills more than everybody else because you are responsible of yourself, of your salaries, most likely of a team, of a company, of just putting yourself out there and people are expecting something from you. So you cannot really take a lot of time to get over things. This is the bad news, but the good news is that actually, if you are able, if you accept it, you're going to figure out yourself pretty soon before you build your life. So you're not going to have this disruption when you are 50 or something. So that's the first thing I realized after the big disruption. And the second thing, it was about taking responsibility instead of blaming. So I could just sit in a couch for months and say, oh, life is so hard with me. Yeah, it was, but then I had the responsibility to react. And that's what all of you have to think about. So if something happens to you or to your company, you don't have to even to think about wasting time in blaming. Blaming what exactly? So just take the responsibility to get you in a point where actually you are happy again. And then at that point, when I was thinking about that, I was running around in San Diego between hotels and bed and breakfast. And I was thinking about a class that I got when I was during my master's of supply chain management. And the professor taught me about what resilience is. And that was really interesting. I love this concept. So resilience is the ability of a system to cope with change. And I really like this graph because resilience, even more, what I really like about resilience is that you have a disruption. So as in this graph, you can see you decrease really quickly. And resilience is the ability to get back to the point you started, even better because you have the lesson learned at this point in the shortest amount of time. That's what means resilience. So basically, I blend out all these three things, and I just came out with the methodology and with the strategy that I'm going to share with you guys today. So before I share it, I'll tell you that this happened about 4 months ago, and where I'm today is that I'm actually launching Coacher, a little bit delayed, in the American market on the 29th of February. And then I had to figure out how to get some money around, so I got from 0 to 10K euros in contracts with new clients, just picking up the phone in 2 weeks. And I've never been, this is the most important thing, I've never been as happy as I am right now, and I've never been as productive and focused and strong as I am right now. And the secret was about not thinking about productivity, success, motivation, anything of that. I just wanted to survive. So my strategy comes from, again, a manufacturing concept, because I'm a manufacturing girl. So every process, this is a flow that actually is applied in manufacturing. You have a process, you have the input, and of course, after the process, you get the output. And many companies use the quality control. Quality control, for me, is a synonym of waste of money, waste of time, waste of energy, waste of products, and for the company as well. I learned that actually the best, the most important, the best manufacturing processes, best manufacturing companies work with another idea, another perspective, which is if you have in control the input, and if you have in control the process, you don't need the quality control because the output is given. I thought a lot about this concept, and I like to think that you, as an entrepreneur, you are the input. And then there is a strategy and success, which is our output. And everyone can relate to success, whatever he likes. I mean, it can be whatever for everybody of us. But if we have in control ourselves and the strategy, the plan that we apply, actually success is given. So let's start with this methodology. The methodology seems really, really easy, but it's really difficult to execute it, actually, because it needs a lot of courage for every one of you to get to know themselves. I like to call this methodology, this strategy, built-in quality, because you build your business, you build your goals already in quality. You don't need any quality control. So the first step is interview with yourself. The second step is resources and strategies. And the third step is set up your life. And I'm going to go in depth with all of this. But then repeat this methodology as many times as you want, as many goals as you have. And Kaizen, which means in Japanese continuous improvement. So like lesson learned and apply it better and better. So I will relate this methodology to my personal case. That was a personal disruption, but it can be related if you want to get more money from your business, if you want to start a business, if you want to quit your job, if you want to just be better in your relationship or getting fit. So at that point, I questioned myself, what do you want? And I want Coacher to be launched. I lost everything. I do believe in this company, and I want it to be launched in the market. And why? And this is interesting, because the why is not always easy to be answered. I read a couple of weeks ago an article shared of one of my Facebook friends, and it was like, yes, everyone ideally wants a Ferrari, but how many of you wants to are deeply want it, not just say, yeah, it should be nice to have a Ferrari. So it's like, when you set a goal, straight after ask yourself why. And this why shouldn't be related to other people, just should be related to yourself, to your deep self. And for me, so if you say, I want to be successful because I want to prove to my dad that I'm successful, that's not right. This is not built-in quality. There is a mistake in the input and in the strategy that you are. So the output is not controlled. It's not going to be given. So I asked myself, why do you want Culture to be launched? And I just answered to myself, I want it because I want to be impactful. I hate average things in life, so I want not to be average. And money, because I don't want to struggle with money all my life. So I was, okay, you want it and you truly want it. And how to get it? And this goes straight to point 2 of the strategy, and which is find 3 resources that you need to get there, and find 3 to 6 strategies to get it. So I was at that point going around in San Diego crying all day long, and I was, well, what do you need to have a Culture launched in the market? And I figured out that I needed money because I had these unexpected expenses. So I was like, you definitely need money. And you don't want to struggle while you're launching your company. And that was a really tricky one. At the beginning I was, oh, you need to be productive and get back your motivation. Of course I lost all my motivation in like overnight. It was, you need to be productive, you are a bad person, and now you sit there and you work. And then I realized, yeah, maybe I can work on my productivity, but that means putting all that shit again in the corner and just think, well, sooner or later you're gonna deal with it. So there's no point. You want to wake up in the morning and be excited about what you do. That's exactly what I wanted. So for me, that was happiness. Waking up and being excited about Culture, about my life and everything. So I realized it wasn't about productivity, it wasn't about motivation, but it was all about happiness. So I wanted to be happy. That is the second resource that I needed to get Culture launched. And then I needed network and knowledge. So be surrounded by the right people, have people to talk with about entrepreneurship and about all these things. And then I listed 3 strategies. I listed more than one strategy for each of these resources. And make sure that when you do that, of course you need to be aligned. That's why I say built-in quality. Because you need to be sure that every of these is aligned with your purpose. So that's why I'm saying you need to work on yourself. You need to get to know yourself at one point. Because if you want to make the right list, not driven by fears, but driven by what you want to get, so you need to work on yourself, and then everything is going to come to you. Everything you want, money, success, everything. So the first strategy to make money was get a job. But I wanted Culture launched, and getting a job pretty soon meant to me going back to Italy, which I didn't want to go because, I mean, in Italy they don't even know who Tim Ferriss is. So, no, really, it's like, that's a nightmare. And so I was, get a job, well, let's just hold it for a little bit. And freelancing, I was, okay, what can you do right now and sell it quickly? You know English, pretty much, and better than many Italians. And you know how to do consulting because you have done it before. You have an analytical mind because you are an engineer. And you are connected in both startup world in San Diego and startup world in Italy. So kind of use all these things together, pick up the phone, you are connected, and ask, hey, do you want me to help you out? At the beginning, you charge it a little bit, and then if it works out and people kind of buy your product, your consulting, you keep going, and that's what I did. So I picked up the phone, and I started, and actually I turned out to have from 0 to 10K in no time. Like clients, they were like, okay, we want to know your advices, and we want to pay for you for that. So that made me in a really comfortable position because I was thinking, if you need more money, you can kind of build a website and do it more structured, or if you need more time to put on Culture, you kind of slow down. But I knew I could do that. And so I decided to go for freelancing. And then seeking, to get the happiness, I was like, my two main things were about seeking for help, first of all. So I got in touch with a coach, a life coach, and I got in touch with, well, of course, my friends and family, amazing. And I just wasn't scared about asking for help. For the first time in my life, I need to talk about myself, I need to talk about my story, I need your support. And I could have chosen the shortest way to have the benefit, because at that point I felt also alone. You know, I could have started dating randomly. I could have started like drinking more. I could have started partying. And actually, I decided what is the long-term success. It's not. Many times this is not the solution that seems to you the easiest one. So I decided to go for a seeking for help and a strict routine. So I needed to experience something more about myself, because what happened, it wasn't about the external world, it was about me. I needed to heal myself. So I got into meditation, I got into affirmation, I didn't even try before. But then I put everything, I made sure that every day I was learning and reading and writing and everything. And for the first thing, it was you need a network and you need knowledge. At that point, I was back in Italy because I was supposed to go anyways. So I was back to Italy, like 3 days there, and I was, what are you gonna do? You're gonna stay in Italy? No, for the reason mentioned before. And you can go back to San Diego, because in San Diego you have many friends, you are connected in a startup world. But at that point I was, if you go back to San Diego, you're going to waste a lot of money. And then it's totally against the point number one. So I realized there is this Chiang Mai, never been to Thailand before. There is this Chiang Mai, I heard it's pretty cool. Let's buy a ticket 3 days after I was in Chiang Mai. And I was, well, Chiang Mai, you know Chiang Mai. I mean, really good connection. The third step of the strategy is set up your life. So once you get to know yourself, and once you got basically the resources and the strategy, at this point you have to set up your life, no matter what, to follow those strategies. So it means no excuses for that, because you already decided what you want. And for me it was tree strategy. I decided to freelance, and I needed more working hours, because still I wanted to work on culture every day. So more working hours meant to me waking up between 5 and 5:30. I have been doing it every single day, no excuses. Seeking for help, strict routine. It means I needed to compromise with myself that I wasn't invincible, seeking for help, and also I needed just 2 lessons more, and I'm done. So I gave up on salsa, which I loved. Of course, I didn't stay up a lot of time. Just I decided that I needed to do everything built in quality to reach the goal. And then Chiang Mai, as you know. So again, it's built in quality if you got to know yourself. So if you have the courage to get to know yourself, there is no sure way. Usually it's you fail if you choose the short ways instead of a long path to hit your goals. And motivation and productivity comes and go. They don't stay. So everything is about what you are discovering about yourself. Too little, more lesson learned. Take responsibility instead of blaming also yourself. You don't want to blame yourself. You don't want to blame others, your competitors. Just take the responsibility to get out of a bad situation. I got from control freak to let go. Actually, I was controlling everything. The only thing I can control is my personal development, and let go on everything else. And I'm so much happier. And track progress, not perfection. Perfectionists usually fail. If you can track progress and actually also make it analytical and make a lesson learned, you're gonna succeed at the end. The biggest result, it was about giving up on my biggest fears. My biggest fear, guess what was? It was about losing everything overnight. And it happened to me, and it was the biggest opportunity of my life to be happy, to be realized. And I will never be so grateful for what happened to me. And failure is not about when something goes not exactly as you planned it before, but it's how if you are not able to react. So I have to do that because I'm going to launch in 2 weeks. This is Coacher, is a marketplace for coaching. If you want to be an early adopter, just sign up, go to the platform. You're going to have the chance to get in touch with many coaches around the country, the United States. So get in touch, and thanks for being patient with my accent. Thank you.
Okay. Alicia Bush, well done.